Ray-Ban Meta glasses come with open-ear audio, so you can listen to your favorite music without blocking out the world around you.
Hey Meta, play Gorgeous.
Here's Gorgeous by Doja Cat.
You can also ask Meta AI questions.
Hey Meta, when's Doja Cat's next concert?
Doja Cat is playing at the Los Angeles Theater next Tuesday.
Sweet.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, available at Ray-Ban stores and other authorized retailers.
Hi, I'm here to pick up my son Milo.
There's no Milo here.
Who picked up my son from school?
Streaming only on Peacock.
I'm gonna need the name of everyone that could have a connection.
You don't understand. It was just the five of us.
So this was all planned.
What are you gonna do?
I will do whatever it takes to get my son back.
I honestly didn't see this coming. These nice people killing each other.
All Her Fault, a new series streaming now only on Peacock.
Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary listeners, heroes and heroines, crooks and crookians, Rod Wave. The audio performance you are about to enjoy discusses casinos and gambling. We do not recommend gambling with money you cannot afford to lose or that is needed to pay bills. If you have a gambling problem, contact your problem gambling hotline. If you do not know how to contact your problem gambling hotline, send an email to help@casinocombat.com. We will find that number for you and provide it to you. Our hosts' past performances are not indicative of anyone's future results, including his own. All materials presented here are based on actual facts. Names and dates are changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. Some events, unrelated to outcomes, may be omitted in the interest of brevity and clarity. The contents of this episode are the property of Volcanic Dingo, LLC, and all rights are reserved. It's me, it's TRG, the Ramblin Gambler, just trying to make a living and doing the best I can.
Lyrics, dude. Recite him some lyrics.
It's hard to focus on the grind when you got everything on the line. We gambling. Well, not this minute. Right now, we're talking, we're not gambling, but I'm sure I'll get to some gambling at some point today. Almost always happens. Welcome to episode 150 and a half of our Casino Combat podcast. Yep, episode 150 and a half. See, I'm partway done with episode 151. I already said the welcome to episode 151 part. I already did that. I already saved that. I already sent it over to T-Rex for him to start editing that. But this episode kind of needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. I always say this is our podcast, and I mean that. And yesterday I realized a couple of things. There was something I didn't think anyone wanted me to talk about that in fact someone does want me to talk about, so I'm going to fix that in this episode 150 and a half. And I realized that I needed to ramble some about comps, events, and trips with you in the virtual VIP lounge. So having realized those two things, that I was refusing to say something that someone wanted said, and that there were some conversations that needed to be had, here we are. Here we are right here, right now. Episode 151.5 is a unique number, and we are going to have a unique battle plan for this episode. If you are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. In every episode, I do a little something I call the battle plan. It's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to start off with a new segment called simply Slot Tactics, and I'll tell you about that, the what's, the whys, and the reasons when we get there. And after that, we are going to adjourn to the virtual VIP lounge for some sips and some stories. Yeah, there'll be some stories. Well, sort of some stories, but also some information. Kind of a unique format for a unique episode. Kind of a unique plan for a unique episode. And before we jump into all that, what is going on in the Casino Combat Galaxy? Honestly, what isn't going on in the Casino Combat Galaxy? It is currently in the real world. It is late January 2025, and we are getting ready to have our first group event in Henderson, Nevada, near Las Vegas. We are going to celebrate Fasnacht Day, or as some uninformed people call it, Mardi Gras, just a bit early. The weekend before the actual holiday, February 28th to March 2nd. We still have some rooms available for qualified players. Love to have you join us. Email me, trg@casinocombat.com. Spell combat with a K. Email me if you would like to join us. If you live in the area or will be in the area but staying elsewhere, please stop in. If you're going to do that, email me as well so that I have, one, a complete list, and two, so I can set you up with a wristband for access to our private table, private games, private spaces, those types of things. I want to make sure I know who's coming in to visit so that you get all the benefits and so that other members of the squad know you're a member of our squad. Next up, we just announced, very exciting. I put out a quick audio note about that. I guess that's what we call those things. We just announced we have the first ever Casino Combat card cruise. And yes, we spelled cruise with a K. It will leave Port Liberty near New York City on Liberty of the Seas and sail to Bermuda, where we will spend 2 days enjoying that beautiful island before returning to Port Liberty. This is a great ship. It is a great cruise. Qualified players will be comped, paying only taxes and fees of approximately $225 per person. This is intended to be a premier casino hosting group cruise, so we will have a welcome party and a slot tournament and swag bags, and everyone will be given prime tier status in the casino for this cruise. Equine Ensign is going, VCPD is going, Casino Combat Chef is going. This is a great opportunity to hang out with the squad, get in the Casino Royal Caribbean's casino system. Honestly, get into the PCH system as well. If you would like to join us, once again, email me. trg@casinocombat.com, and I will be thrilled to get you set up with a cabin for this wonderful cruise. Finally, as we talk about what is going on in the Casino Combat galaxy, always the biggest of big news. We have a new member of the Excelsior Brigade, Lucky Drunk. Love that handle. Love that call sign. They picked that one. I didn't pick that one. And it is a role I have played many times in a casino. It is a wonderful way to convince the house that you are lucky, not good. And we'd much rather have them think we are lucky than good. And Lucky Drunk wasted no time in finding a member of the invitation committee for the virtual VIP lounge on Slack and joining us there. If you are new, if this is your first time, the virtual VIP lounge is a segment that I do every episode, but it is also a real thing, a very, very real thing. Many members of the squad hang out there all day, every day. It is a very public, secret society of elite gamblers spending their time researching games, strategies, wagering systems, reward systems, just anything and everything gambling related, and you are invited to join us. It's a simple two-step process. First, listen to the episodes of this podcast, especially early episodes, and determine the real-world name of my home casino, Casino 2, just 2.5 hours south and east from my home. Email that information to me. I will verify it. I will welcome you into the Excelsior Brigade. I will let the guys on the committee know that you are eligible to ask for an invitation. Then, find the real-world version of Same Bet, Nakatomi Tony, or Equine Ensign. Ask them for an invitation. That's it. Do those two things, and you are going to be able to join us in the virtual VIP lounge on Slack. Those of you who have already done step 1 and are members of the Inner Circle or Excelsior Brigade, you are already eligible to ask for an invitation, and we would love to have you come hang out with us. We'd love to have you find us and ask for an invitation and be part of the virtual VIP lounge with us. I know. I said finally. And then I'm now going to say one more final thing. I'm rambling. I am. Last episode, I did a rather tongue-in-cheek monologue about casino gambling being a platform for LARPing, live-action role-playing. And I was a little serious, not a lot serious. It was just a random thought. And I realized after the episode had dropped that I missed one thing, one really important thing that I should have said, one very, very important thing. Those of us doing Casino Combat together are having a blast. Not only blast playing the game of casino gambling together, but if you want to consider Casino Combat a LARPing system, we are having fun doing that together as well. We really are. We are having a great time, and we would love to have others come play with us because it's fun. All right, let's do the first ever slot tactics segment of Casino Combat. Okay, this is definitely one where you need the story about the segment before we in fact get to the segment. So I was talking with Nakatomi Tony yesterday, and when I say talking, I mean we were texting and messaging and that kind of stuff. And he was saying that he said, I'm being selfish, but I still really would like an audio version of the slot tactics book. And I said, well, Katie and Kyle did an episode about that. And he said, I know, but it's not the same thing. I would just really selfishly, for my collection, like to have an audio version of the slot tactics book. And being the tech nerd that I can be sometimes, I went, oh, well, that's easy. I'll just use some of my other segments. I'll feed them into an AI. The AI will clone my voice. Then I'll feed the book into the AI of my voice, and the AI of my voice will read that, and I went off like a rocket. I started trying to put all that together, and I spent 10 or 15 minutes on it, and it was going to be more difficult than I had envisioned. Completely possible. And I told Tony, hey, I said, no, Nakatomi Tony, I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to get this together, but this was a little trickier than I thought. I thought I could just knock it out in 10 or 15 minutes. It's not going to be a 10 or 15 minute thing, but I'm going to do it. It's going to be easy. I'm going to clone and then I went about the rest of my day, and I got thinking about things, and I thought, this is about the dumbest thing you've ever thought about doing, TRG. You got a listener who's a good friend, who's been super supportive of the podcast, and you always believed from minute one that the slot play information needed to be in book form because no one was going to sit and listen to you read it. No one was going to want to sit and listen to you read and explain this. And here you have someone who's a really good barometer of the podcast telling you that he'd really like this. Now, why in the world, instead of just doing what they ask, instead of just doing what Nakatomi Tony asked, why are you trying to do all this technology stuff? By the time you do all the technology pieces to get a robot version of yourself built to read this, you could just read it and make it an episode. Just do a slot tactics segment, do an episode. And then I was having some other conversations that I'm going to tell you about in the virtual VIP lounge. And I went, you just need to do episode 150.5 so that Nakatomi Tony can have an audio version of a book that he would like to have an audio version of. It is the classic example of this is our podcast. Why are you trying to have a robot do all of this when you could just sit down at your desk in the glorious Casino Combat Studios in parts unknown and do exactly what Nakatomi Tony would like? So I have just click, just pulled up the Casino Combat Slot Tactics ebook, which you can read by going to casinocombat.com, spell combat with a K, and download for free, 100% free, don't even ask for your email address, free, a copy of the book Casino Combat Slot Tactics. And I confess that since I wrote it, I have not read it in a very long time. I have not read it recently. So here we go. TRG reads Casino Combat Slot Tactics. Let us start with the foreword. Over the course of my life, I've considered writing several books on gambling and more specifically blackjack. I even outlined and started a couple of books, but never in my wildest imaginings did I think I'd write a book about using casino slot machines to generate benefits and profits. But here we are. An admittedly somewhat ridiculous idea twisted and turned into a book. I'd like to thank my amazing wife, Mrs. TRG, for not only putting up with this absurd idea, but also for helping me test this absurd idea. I'd like to thank my youngest son for his questions and ideas every time we talked about this. Finally, I'd like to thank Gabriel for his friendship and his generosity in listening to me ramble on about the testing results that are the basis for this book. Disclaimer. Boy, I do love a disclaimer. It's not in the text. That's just me yakking. Gambling in casinos can be a fun and profitable side hustle. I still firmly believe that. I've documented that in my main podcast. It can also be a problem for some people. Don't use any of this with money you cannot afford to lose, and if you need help, find help.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels. On everything from lamps to ceiling fans. Even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes. Now available in crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox. Clean feels good.
It's me, it's TRG, the Ramblin Gambler, a vest-wearing, ring-bearing son of a salesman, and this is our Casino Combat Slot Tactics book. I have to tell you, that's a sentence that up until very recently, I didn't think I would ever write or say. I've been involved with casinos and casino gambling for over 30 years. Over the years, I've developed an approach to casino gambling that involved trying to accomplish repeated small wins and occasionally managing to turn that small win into a large win. If I lost, I tried to keep the loss small. During that time, if asked for gambling advice, I would always tell people to never play slot machines, and if they did, to always play maximum coin on each spin. Decades ago, when I started going to casinos, beginners and tourists would regularly whoop and holler over something good coming up on a slot machine, only to discover that since they played 1 quarter instead of 3, they were not going to receive the jackpot. Now, I'm not telling you that I strictly followed that very good advice. Slot machines today only take paper money. But back when I started, they took actual coins. My lovely wife would always swipe the change from me after I paid for breakfast or buying drinks, and then she would wander around the casino until she had a feeling about a particular machine, and in would go 3 nickels or 2 quarters. She consistently won with this approach. $1.15 here, $4.32 there. Never anything big, but it was pretty amazing how consistently she turned some change into more change. I myself would sometimes spin a few bucks through a machine if I was waiting for her to get ready, but only if I could win a really cool sports car if the wheels lined up correctly. And FYI, I never won a sports car. The other time I would play slots was if a casino gave me free slot play. In fact, I invented a strategy for using the free slot play to always walk away with more money than I started with. The strategy is in this book as well, and in my opinion, if your goal is to profit from casinos, you should always use that strategy when given free slot play. As I was looking for a machine to play my free slot play on one day, I would generally make choices based on the graphics of the machine or whatever looked fun. And about a year ago, I started using Wonder Woman Golden Lasso machines at my local casino to play any free slot play that I received. I realized that the old-timer wisdom of always play max coins to be eligible for the big payouts was no longer always true. This particular penny slot would pay out various progressive jackpots even if a minimum coin spin was made. A quick aside about penny slots. Again, back in the day, that meant truly penny slots. Most places on the Vegas Strip didn't have them, but smaller properties and downtown properties would have some. You would spin for 1 to 5 cents and the payouts matched the risk. A good spin on 3 cents might pay out $5. Today's penny slots usually allow a variety of bets per spin, ranging from as little as 30 cents to as much as $8.88. Not exactly pennies. Anyway, back on topic. Sorry. So I had a slot machine where I could vary my bets based on the results and still be eligible to win the large progressive jackpots at any time. I started to wonder if I could apply the same strategies that I used successfully to profit from gambling at table games to profit from gambling at slot machines. So I set aside some money and started experimenting. Over time, I started believing I was onto something and my testing got more serious. Since I know that gamblers can be a bit biased toward remembering wins and forgetting losses, I started keeping detailed notes. This book is the result of 2 months of testing that strategy I invented across multiple casinos in multiple states in North America over the course of 2 months. My results and notes are included in Appendix 1. During the same 2 months, I developed a podcast called Casino Combat. Casino Combat is a set of techniques for using casino gambling as a side hustle. It is a combination of solid gambling fundamentals and extreme couponing techniques applied to casinos. Casino Combat allows my wife and I to live a casino lifestyle whenever we want, while also making a modest profit. Usually that profit comes from the gambling itself, but sometimes it comes from the free stuff that the casino gives away. I'll cover the core concepts of Casino Combat in the next chapter, but first, I want to ask you a question. If a casino flies you and a guest to Las Vegas for free, comps your hotel room for 3 nights, gives you some free meals and some show tickets, plenty of free drinks, maybe invites you to a private party with door prizes and raffles. At the end of the trip, you return to the airport having gambled, tipped, shopped, and seen the sights. All the normal stuff people do in Las Vegas. If you have $100 less than when you arrived at the airport to leave, you spent and lost $100. No question about it. Doesn't matter if you spent it or gambled it away. You have $100 less than when you started. But did you lose? Were you a loser? Probably not. You probably spent more than $100 in 4 days and won a little money gambling. For me, in this situation, I add up the value of the airfare, the comped hotel nights, the meals, the show tickets, all of it. And if it would have cost me more than $100 to do those same things, I proudly consider myself a winner. Now, I'd rather come home with more money than I left with, and I have several times, but my definition of winning as it applies to casinos is receiving more in value than I lost or spent. I talk about all of this weekly in my podcast, but I wanted you to understand my basic ground rules. In the next chapter, I'm going to explain the core concepts that my slot strategies are based on. Then in the following chapters, I'll outline my unique slot strategies that anyone can use successfully, and then I'll review my results and some unexpected outcomes. Casino Combat is a strategy for winning against the casino, and a very specific definition of winning as it applies to casino gambling. Casino Combat is a combination of smart, fundamentally sound gambling and extreme couponing applied to a casino promotion. If you understand the Casino Combat approach and put it into practice, casinos are not the enemy of this strategy, they are willing partners. If you go into a casino and win money, they will pay you and thank you. Then they will send you offers in the mail for free stuff that you can come in and pick up. It's their way to get you back to the casino, and if you go again and win again, they will pay you again. If you lose just a small amount, they will continue to send you promotions, and that happens over and over as long as you are not cheating. So here are the core concepts of Casino Combat. 1. Learn to play a casino game with a minimum house advantage. Sadly, this does not apply to slots. The house advantage at slots varies from one jurisdiction to another, but is generally right around 15%. That means for every $100 that people spend through a slot machine, the house will keep $15. A person just spending $1 might win thousands, or a person spending $100 might win nothing, but over the long haul, the casino will keep $15 of every 100 that goes through the machine. No one is more surprised than me that I'm stepping away from this idea that I've held for over 30 years. But times change, and the data says that the house advantage on slots can be overcome with technique, discipline, and free stuff. Core concept 2. Learn a betting strategy that includes both progressive and regressive concepts. I'll teach you that later in the book. Have a bankroll of money you can afford to lose that is large enough for the size of bets that you are going to make. The wonderful part of this strategy is the bankroll needed is not nearly as large as that which is required to play table games. 4. Get a player's card from the casino. This is the easiest item on the list. 5. Play your machine of choice until you have won a set amount that is small and manageable, and then leave the machine. If you lose a small amount, leave the machine. You can find another machine and repeat the process, or return in a day or a week and repeat the process. I use Casino Combat slot tactics to supplement my primary game, which is blackjack. So if I finish a session at the blackjack table, I may stop at a slot machine on the way to cash in my chips and try to win a few more dollars. The final part of this strategy, maybe the most important part, is that after you gamble at a given casino a few times, they start sending you promotions. Money to gamble with, meals, shows, hotel rooms, trips, etc. Casinos become a combination country club, side hustle, and hobby. I use Casino Combat to gamble a month at a time, not a machine at a time, not a day at a time. Ideally, at the end of the month, after paying for the expenses of being in the casino, tips, meals, fees, etc., your gambling bankroll is larger than it was at the beginning of the month. Often it will be. But if you don't win, keep the losses small, and all the free stuff should more than cover the small loss. And usually, the months before and after make up the small losses with profits. In the full Casino Combat podcast, I detail the wins, the losses, and the free stuff from the week in every episode. TRG slot strategy number 1. Casinos love to give away free slot play. Get a player's card for the first time, here's some free slot play. Over age 50 and it's Wednesday, here is some free slot play. Saturday before noon, here is some free slot play. Attending a quarterly dinner for the casino's best guests, let's have a drawing for some free slot play. So even if you only play table games in a casino, you're going to end up receiving free slot play. You can ignore it, which I consider foolish and wasteful, or you can spin and spin until you win something big. Usually if you do this, you end up with nothing. But what the heck, it was free anyway, right? Again, I consider that foolish and wasteful. You could instead use TRG slot strategy number 1 and almost always walk away with a profit. Maybe just a small one, but a profit. And maybe a large profit sometimes as well. Generally, I find that you can expect at minimum to receive at least half the value of the free slot play at the end of a session using this strategy. And sometimes it surprises you in a great way and you win a lot more. People who run casinos are not dumb, but they have lots of blind spots sometimes. As an industry, they are smart people. They know if they give lots of people free slot play, some people are going to try to just take that money and not actually gamble with it. So they don't let you do that. Everywhere I've been, free play is added to your rewards card and you download it into your machine of choice using a PIN or a password, just like an ATM. So they give you $20 in free slot play and you can't take it out of the machine, but you can take out anything you win while playing the free slot play. If a casino gives me $20 in free slot play, I find a machine that will pay out progressive jackpots, even on a less than maximum wager, and I start spinning $1 or $2 a spin. These are usually above the minimum and well below the maximum. I have zero interest in spending $20.40 at a time. But I also don't want to exhaust my free attempts with just 2 spins. As I spin, if I win anything, I press the cash out button on the slot machine. Somewhere on the machine, a message will be displayed saying free money cannot be removed from the machine, and a slip of paper will be printed with your winnings. Sometimes the slips will say 20 cents, and sometimes they will say $20 or more. Just yesterday, I used $20 in free slot play at one casino to generate $61.20 in winnings, and then $75 in free play at another casino to generate $284.52 in profits. You take those slips of paper to a bill-breaking machine or to the casino cage, and they will turn it into real money, money that is yours to keep. I find that money won spends exactly the same as money earned. That's the house's free play turned into money in my pocket using TRG slot strategy number 1. I don't think it's tricky or difficult. All you have to do is press the cash out button every time you win, and don't gamble any of your own money after the money is gone. Simple and easy. Let me tell you a quick story about making a fool of myself. I had a bad day at the blackjack table. I wasn't doing well, and I had one bet left before my loss would trigger my exit point. I made that bet, which is a bigger bet, and I lost. I took my few remaining chips to the cage to cash them in. I was annoyed at how things had gone, and probably having a bad week gambling-wise as well. The cashier reminded me that I had $100 in free slot play, and I said, yeah, sure, thanks. It's not like $50 in profits is going to fix anything, but yeah, sure. I always try to be kind to all the staff. I really do, but I missed the mark on this one. I stomped my way to a slot machine, muttering all the way about how it wasn't going to matter. Honestly, not my finest moment. I found a machine with a $10 per spin option, just to get done and get out of the building. I didn't hit much in terms of small payout, which only made me more annoyed. On the last spin, I hit 3 sevens and won $1,000. Way more than what I had lost at the blackjack tables. I was very embarrassed by my behavior. I went back to the same cashier to redeem the slip, apologized, and tipped her well. So there's my first slot strategy, and one I always use when the casino gives me free slot play. If you play Baccarat or a really good blackjack player, you are basically playing a 50-50 game, which means the more you play, making the same bet over and over, the closer you get to either winning or losing one bet. That's fine for playing a lot and not losing much, but it's no way to make a profit. You make a profit by varying the amount you bet based on if you won or lost the previous bet or bets, and by having a plan for leaving with either a profit or a small loss. A progressive wager is a wager that increased because the previous bet or bets were won. It's a way of increasing your profits if you keep winning. A regressive wager is a wager that is increased because the previous bet or bets were lost. I've used this technique to win money playing blackjack for years. My podcast, Casino Combat, as well as my YouTube channel, Casino Combat Boot Camp, explains my approach to progressive and regressively wagering at table games. I was surprised to realize that I could apply the same technique to playing slot machines, as long as the machine in question would pay out progressive jackpots or a reasonable portion thereof on wagers smaller than the maximum wager for the machine. I'll explain exactly how to do that shortly, but first let me quickly run down the rest of the core concepts. Having bankroll large enough for the bets you are going to make is critically important to successful gambling. I see this done wrong almost every time I'm in a casino. So allow me to illustrate the wrong way to do this with a table games example. A person walks up to a $15 table and buys in for $40. It is clear that that is all the money they have. It can end well, but it almost never does. In fact, true story. Anytime a new casino opens in an area, you will always see some noobs who make all kinds of mistakes. In fact, for whatever reason, right now I see noobs almost every place I go. But anyway, when my local casino opened, I waited a week or two to check it out, and during my first visit, a young man buys into a $15 blackjack table with $40. He loses the first 2 hands and tries to make a $10 bet. The dealer politely says that the table minimum is $15. After digging in his pockets, the young man asks the dealer if his spot can be held. Of course it can. Then he asks if I'll wait for him to come back. Yes, of course. I mean, I think I know where this is going, but I'm really just there to see the new casino for the first time, and I'm easily amused. I watch him walk to the ATM, and he returns with a $5 bill, which he converts into a single $5 chip. So he paid $5.99 in ATM fees to get $5. The $5 chip actually has a $10.99 value. He won his next bet, then lost the next 2 and left. He didn't have enough money to even try to gamble at a $15 blackjack table. The same principle applies to gambling at a slot machine. You might insert just $1 and win thousands of dollars. It does happen, but the most likely outcome is that you walk away with $1 less. I wish I had a mathematical equation to share with you to calculate slot machine bankroll size. I always like having math to back up what I teach people. Pause. Aside. I actually do now. All these years later, I actually do. The subject of the Casino Combat Holiday Hangout virtual session was exactly that. calculating the bankroll size and calculating the buy-in and calculating as a result the positive exit number. And if you'd like to have that information and the spreadsheet, shoot me an email, trg@casinocombat.com, spell combat with a K, and we will work out a reasonable fee for getting you that information. In fact, maybe I just need to revise this book and put it out there for everybody, but I do actually have an equation for that. And now I'm going to continue reading, where in the book I wrote, but I don't. I have simple approximations and estimates based on experience. There are a lot of slot machines in North America where the smallest bet is 30 to 50 cents and the largest bet is $3 to $5. If you stick to playing those games, a bankroll of $300 should be more than sufficient to win money and having the ability to take a small loss and keep playing. In gambling, a small loss is fine, as long as it wasn't all the money you had available for gambling. The system I'm going to show you has exit points built in to keep your losses small. There are some machines I really enjoy that start with a wager of 88 cents, and the largest wager on the machine is $8.88. Those machines work with this strategy, but you need a bankroll of $500 to include those machines in your process. Don't gamble with money you cannot afford to lose. Don't gamble with money you need to pay your bills. If you can put $300 at risk but not $500, have the discipline to stick with machines that have a maximum bet of $5 or less. There are plenty of them out there. The next core concept is get a player's card for the casino where you are going to gamble. This is critically important, but also very easy. When you enter a casino, if you don't have a player's card, find the player's club desk, sometimes called the reward center, or something else that matches the casino's brand. Look for signs, or just ask any employee where to get a player's card. Generally, you show them ID, they ask you to create a PIN number, and they give you a card, and usually some free slot play. Since you know how to use TRG slot strategy number 1, you know how to use that free play to get free money. The only thing I would mention here is that if you have a player's card from another casino and you are at a reasonably decent tier level, show that card when you ask for your new card at a new location. Often they will match your level with their property to the level you had at a competing property, which means more perks and benefits. Perks and benefits is why you need a player's card. You put the player's card into a machine while you are gambling. The casino's computers record your play in the form of points. The more points you accumulate, the more free stuff the casino gives you to bring you back. Also, the points you accumulate can be used to pay for meals, for hotel rooms, or for show tickets. Those points can also be turned into more free slot play when you have enough of them. Since offsetting small losses with free stuff is a key aspect of the casino combat strategy, it's important to have a card and use it when you play slot machines. The next core concept is accomplishing a small win and leaving the machine, or leaving the machine with a small loss. TRG slot strategy El Numero Dos includes specific guidelines for when to leave the machine. They are simple and easy to understand. What you have to do is have the discipline to follow the guidelines. For a casino gambler, discipline is the angel on your shoulder telling you what you know you should do. And the devil riding on the other shoulder is always giving you reasons to ignore the angel of discipline and keep gambling. Always listen to the angel of discipline. Final core concept is to play for the month, not the machine or the day. If you take a couple of small losses, wrap things up and try again another time. Keep losses small, and the free stuff and wins from other days and months will make up for the loss. As I explain TRG slot strategy numero dos in detail, you will see where the free stuff comes from. So the idea for TRG slot strategy numero dos is to increase your bets after a series of losses until you win more than the amount of money the spin cost. If you happen to accumulate multiple wins in a row at a low level, you then increase your bet as well, although that happens very, very rarely. You also need to know when to leave the machine. This strategy does all of this, and all you need to do is be able to count to 4. That's right, the only thing you have to do other than leave is count to 4. Let's walk through this step by step. First, find a slot machine with a range of bets that pays out the bigger slot jackpots even if you are not making the maximum bet. This information will generally be available on the front of the machine. If the machine says on the largest bet, Required for progressive payout, you want to avoid that machine. If it doesn't say that and says something like progressive payouts available on all wagers, you're all set. Sometimes you will have to touch something on the screen to see a payout chart. It's also called a payout table or machine rules. When you are completely new to this, you are going to have to do some research to find machines you like with the correct rules. And let me pause there again. In the modern world, I've put together quite a list of these at this point. If you are really new to this, if you happen to be hearing this episode for the very first time, shoot me an email. I'll get you a list. Absolutely not a problem. After you find a game, to continue the reading, after you find a game or two that matches the needs of the strategy, you can gradually find other machines you like as well. For the sake of teaching this strategy, let's use a slot machine with 5 available bets, all of which are eligible to win the progressive jackpot or an appropriate portion of the jackpot. The bets are 50 cents, $1, $1.50, $2, and finally $2.50. So having found a suitable machine, you insert your player's card in the slot. Then you insert $100 of your $300 bankroll in another slot in the machine. Now you press the 50-cent wager button and count 1. This count is going to tell you when to make your bets larger, and the outcome of the bets will tell you when to change the count. If you win anything less than 50 cents, spin again and count 2. If you win more than 50 cents, start over and count 1 on the next spin. If you win exactly 50 cents, the spin does not count. It's a push. Just spin again and count the same number again if you have a push. If you count to 4 and have not won more than the amount of your wager, make the next wager on the machine and count 1 again. This is regressive wagering, betting more after a loss or a series of losses. Now, if you win more than the amount of your wager, not only will your count reset, but you will start back at the smallest wager available on the machine. In this case, back to 50 cents, and when you push the button, count 1. It doesn't happen very often, but if you spin for 50 cents and say 1 and win more than 50 cents, and then spin again for 50 cents while saying 1, and you again win more than 50 cents, it's time for the progressive part of the wagering system. Move up to the $1 bet and say 1 again as you spin. If you win less than $1, start over with the 50-cent wager and count 1. If you win more than $1 twice, move up to the $1.50 bet. Keep moving up every time you win the same bet twice or until you hit your exit point for winning. As I said, this doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And it's important to take advantage of those ongoing wins to make more money. Every good wagering system needs the angel of discipline telling them when to leave, either because of good results or bad results. For TRG slot strategy numero dos, the exit point for good results is if you have won 10% of what you started with after any spin. So in this example, we started with $100 and we exit any time our machine shows we can cash out $110 or more. In Appendix 1, you will see lots of small wins, tens to low teens, which is fine. If you can walk around a casino, pick machine after machine, accumulate points, and put wins in your pocket, you are doing fine. Few people can consistently do that. But here's the other thing this strategy does that you will see in the appendix as well. Occasionally, you will get bigger dollar spins and hit a really good result, even a bonus round of some type. And by the time the bonus round resolves, you've not won $10 on your original 100, but you've doubled your original $100 or more than doubled it. Regardless, the winning exit point is anything more than 10% of what you started with. The exit point for negative results is pressing the largest possible bet on the machine for the 4th time and not winning more than the amount of the wager. It happens sometimes, but I've often had that last spin hit something very, very good and pay out big. Just follow and trust the strategy. That's why you have a strategy. Otherwise, you're just some jabroni gambling without a plan. I'm here to tell you, when you've spun all 5 wagers 4 times and didn't win more than the amount wagered, the angel of discipline is going to be telling you it's time to stop. But the angel is going to be drowned out by the devil on your other shoulder screaming, "Keep playing, you can get it back." And that devil is going to be screaming extra loud and stomping up and down on your shoulder if there is still plenty of money in the machine. Listen to the angel of discipline. Cash out whatever is left in the machine, remove your player's card, and turn the payout slips into dollars. Then decide if you are going to try again on a different machine. Don't make decisions about gambling more without walking away for a minute. You can always gamble more if you want to. Count your money and make decisions with a clear head and no angel or devil whispering in your ear. So that's the entire strategy, as simple as pushing buttons and counting to 4. Let's walk back through it one more time with examples as a review. So I select a machine, insert my card, and insert my money. I make the smallest wager and mentally count 1. I win 20 cents. So I make the smallest wager again and mentally count 2. I win 80 cents. So I make the smallest wager and count 1. Less than 50 cents won, so I spin again and mentally count 2 with a win less than 50 cents. So another 50-cent spin and a mental count of 3 with a win of less than 50 cents. So a 50-cent spin and a count of 4 with a win of less than 50 cents. So now a $1 spin and a mental count of 1 again, since this is a new wager amount. The win is less than $1, so another $1 spin and a mental count of 2. This spin pays out $4.60, so back to a 50-cent wager and a mental count of 1. This spin generates a bonus round and 10 free spins. After the 10 free spins are finished, the machine shows $114.22. Press the cash out button, remove the card, and leave the machine. Sometimes it's just as quick as that. Sometimes you sit for an hour going up and down the rows of buttons, hovering around an $80 balance before something finally happens, either positive or negative, to end your game. But notice a couple of things here. First, even spins that don't generate enough of a win to move you back to the lowest bet to start the process over are generating some money. So you can have a $1.50 spin that only pays $1.40. That money isn't enough of a win to start the process over, but that is money available to continue playing until you reach an exit point. In the next chapter, I'll talk about the results. The results. The first thing you see in Appendix 1, and let me stop here for a second in this reading and remind you that I don't think I'm going to read you Appendix 1 when we get there. It's charts and graphs as I recall. So if you want to see Appendix 1, just go download the PDF, go download the ebook from the website, and you can see Appendix 1. Feel free to pause. My feelings will not be hurt. Feel free to pause, download Appendix 1, and follow along as we go here. But to continue, in the appendix, you will see that over the course of 2 months, my 2 slot strategies combined created a profit of $584.45. You should also notice lots of small wins and some small to medium losses, but you will also see some big wins and some bigger losses. In Appendix 2, I have a bubble graph that shows more wins than losses and that the big losses were smaller than the big wins. In fact, over 2 months, I recorded 47 winning machines compared to 26 losing machines. The other thing that happened over these 2 months is that I earned points that moved me up in the casino reward system, and points that can be used for meals, hotel stays, or turned into free play, and from free play into more money. Finally, something happened that caught me by surprise. In hindsight, it shouldn't have, but it did. In Appendix 1, you will see that after I tested the strategy for a while, casinos started giving me more free slot play. And not here is $5 of free play because you are over 50. No, $50 or $100 of free play. And each time I'd use TRG slot strategy number 1 to turn free slot play into free money. Remember that last core concept. Play for the month, not the machine or the day. The plan is to win, but if you lose, keep the losses small and make it up with the free stuff. A large portion of the cash won with these 2 slot machine wagering systems came from the free play and TRG slot strategy number 1, and that's okay. The win is great, but I'd be fine if it just broke even. As I track it some more, it may do that. Again, that's fine. If you have a way to play at the casino and have fun, and at the end of the month have the money you started with, you won. Because the next month and the next month, the casino will keep giving you stuff to bring you back. You can enjoy the stuff, or give it as gifts, or sell it and keep the money. And part of the free stuff that they give you to come back will be free slot play, and at this point, you know that's just free money. The final result that I will highlight is that over the course of this experiment, slot machines evolved from something that I never played or played when I had free play to a regular part of my casino visits. It complements my blackjack play, increased my standing and value to the casino, and added to my winning and to my free stuff. And that's what Casino Combat is all about.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan. $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Chronic spontaneous urticaria, or chronic hives with no known cause. It's so unpredictable. It's like playing pinball. Itchy red bumps start on my arm, then my back. Sometimes my legs. Hives come out of nowhere. And it comes and goes. But I just found out about a treatment option at treatmyhives.com. Take that, chronic hives. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
Adjustments to TRG slot strategy numero dos. This wagering system started as a somewhat ridiculous idea that I decided to test with some extra blackjack winnings. And then I didn't really believe my results, so I started keeping detailed written notes. And then I started getting large amounts of free play and watching my points go up, and I started to think I was on to something. But I think it should be clear that I'm not some math genius who cranked out the perfect numbers to exactly predict slot results and beat slot machines. I'm just a guy with a lot of experience in casinos who spotted a change to the way machines worked and then applied well-developed fundamental gambling strategies and discipline to squeeze out profits and benefits. You can too. But once you understand everything, you can tweak all of this in whatever way makes sense to you. For example, why is the count 4 and not 3 or 5? Yes, I'm tempted to insert a Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail quote here, but really, if you use 3 instead, you are going to put less money at risk and hurry your arrival at a negative exit in some cases. But that may generate better results. Likewise, increasing the number of bets before you make that a 5 or even 6 is going to increase the amount of money you are putting at risk. So if you're going to select a larger number, you should also increase your starting bankroll, but again, that may work as well or better. Speaking of bankroll, I also selected both the starting amount of $100 and the 10% win amount mostly at random. I tested with them and they worked, and I saw no reason to change what was working. But if you use different numbers for either the starting amount or the percentage money won before you exit, my suggestion is to try it my way before you make too many changes. And whatever starting amount you select, make sure it's enough to reach the negative exit condition. The end. And we get to the appendix. That was interesting. It was interesting to get inside the former me's brain a little bit and read through that and see that presentation and go back through those things. It really was informative for me. So maybe it was informative for all of you. Nakatomi Tony, I certainly hope I found what you were looking for. I really do. It was really informative. The only other thing I'll add is that I did do some supplemental material to this. If this is something that you use, if this is something that you play, or if you're hearing about this for the first time and you decide to read it for yourself and look at it, and you want those supplemental materials from the live premium event, send me an email, come find me, we'll work something out, we'll get those extra materials out to you. It does actually put some additional financial structure on this, depending on the wagers on the machines. We really did calculate buy-in better, and as a result, calculating buy-in better ended up with a better positive exit number to deal with that has tweaked things a little bit. And from the perspective of when that was written, with a couple months of data to now, we have years and years and years of data. And what we see is that generally about once every 12 months, we just get wrecked. And sometimes that corresponds to being on a cruise or being at a resort and perhaps playing slots more than we do in just our normal day-to-day or a weekend here or a weekend there. But about once every year, 1 month, we really get beat up. And about 1 month out of every 12, we do really, really incredibly well. We do so well that it makes a difference in a big way. And the reality is the other 10 months, we have more cash from playing slots at the end of the month than we did when we started. And often I'm going to use real numbers, I'm not going to break things down, but often it's in the form of playing with our own money, we lost $85. And playing with the free slot money that they gave us, we made $150. So we got a little better than $70 there in cash money profit from the process. And as it says in the book, the wheel continues to spin. If you stopped playing every month and losing, you would also stop the free slot play to a large extent, and you would stop the points, and you would stop the comps. And it continues to be that thing where when you go to play some of this on the way home from somewhere else, you do it around lunchtime, and in addition to playing the free slot play and maybe playing a little bit with your own money, then there's also a gift card or a candy bar or a food comp, and you can make it your lunch break. So it really does work, or has worked. Let me say it that way. Let me be a little wiser with time. It has worked consistently year in, year out on kind of that one really bad month, one really good month, and the rest are in the middle, and we make just a little money basis. All right, next up, we are going to go to the virtual VIP lounge for some sips and some conversation, and I'm sure a story or two.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Welcome to the most must-listen-to segment in casino lifestyle podcasting, the Virtual VIP Lounge. Our lounge is open, and we have the best virtual everything virtually all the time. Best virtual food and drink served in any virtual VIP lounge anywhere on the interwebs, guaranteed or your money back. As always, if you can, in real life, press pause and pour yourself something and fix a plate. That would be great. It'd be great if in the very virtual sense of the internet, we could actually have a drink together. I will confess that at this point, even if I was in a true lounge, I suspect I would be still water guy. I have got a lot of things going on, so I'm keeping it pretty simple today. Nothing fancy. Let's talk for a few minutes. I've had a lot of these conversations lately, and so let's talk for a few minutes about trips, cruises, and comps. Very much the way I might if, say, I was in a lounge in Atlantic City and somebody said, oh, you cruise based on your play? Or wait, you were on a cruise or on your way to a cruise and you stopped here first, but you're comped on... Like, if they were having those conversations, we'd have those in a VIP lounge. And that's why I thought it might make a lot of sense to have those here. Been having a lot of those conversations with all of you, and conversations with the team at Premier Casino Hosting. And the first thing I'm hearing from members of the squad is maybe best generalized as a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of apprehension. For some of you, this idea of being comped, certainly comped on a cruise, is new. It's a bit scary, maybe a bit scary for your spouse or partner, maybe a bit unbelievable to your spouse or partner. I mean, it sounds too good to be true. It does. I mean, I can imagine coming home to my wife 20 years ago and saying, I listened to this podcast, honey. Well, no, 20 years ago it would have been, I read this newsletter about gambling and we can go on a cruise just by paying the taxes and fees. I'm not so sure she would have believed me. I think she might have wondered if I was being scammed or taken advantage of. So I do really get that. I really do. And I want to say, if you are in that situation, Mrs. TRG, the Radiant Goddess of Casino Combat, has kind of a standing offer. Get in touch with me. We will set up a conversation just between her and the person in your life that has doubts, and she will just share her experiences doing this crazy thing called Casino Combat. She's happy to have that conversation. Equine Ensign is an expert at all of this. He has traveled multiple times to multiple places on comps and on comps through Premier Casino Hosting. And I haven't asked him, I haven't brought this up, but I'm highly certain that if we ask, he would be happy to talk to any member of the squad or their spouse about how all of this works. So if you're having some anxiety around that, if someone in your life is having some anxiety around that, if it just doesn't sound all quite right, if you want someone else to give you a point of view, we have other people available. And we have other people that I'm sure will be happy to answer questions you have just to the very best of their ability. And then there's this other form of anxiety. This, my play isn't enough. Or is my play going to be enough? Am I going to have to pay something on the back end? Am I going to embarrass myself? I had one person say this, am I going to let you down, TRG? Don't worry about letting me down. No. Or am I creating a problem for him or a problem for Premier Casino Hosting? I appreciate that. I get it. I understand it. Please don't feel that way. Please don't feel that way at all. First of all, myself and the guys at Premier Casino Hosting are all big boys. We all know what we're doing. We all know how business is done. We all know that things are going to happen, intended and unintended. And please don't worry about that. And let me tell you a story that Nakatomi Tony can verify because he lived it with me almost in real time from one end of the continent to the other. But let me tell you this story, as I said, that he can verify to show you, I hope, that I do truly understand. I was going out to Las Vegas to be part of the Craps for the Cure charity event. And I had booked myself on my own abilities, on my own comps, in the Caesars app. I had booked myself at the Link Resort and Casino. Had a beautiful one-bedroom, one-half bath suite. Everything was fine. And in the days just before I was going to arrive, I got an invitation from Eric at Premier Casino Hosting. He's been on with us in the past. And I got an invitation from him to join a private craps game at Sunset Station, where we're going to have the first group event. And it's going to be a private table. And he said for qualified players. And I said, am I qualified? And he said, absolutely. And I said, okay, great. I'd love to come out. I'll probably know some of the people there. Want to be in a private game. That should be a lot of fun. I've never done that. And he said, boom, done. And I said, great. So I go out to Vegas and I'm settled into my room and I'm starting to see all there's a group text message group for people and they're arriving and there's conversations about has my line of credit been transferred over and this and that and the other thing. And I'm having that anxiety. I mean, I had never traveled with Eric. I had traveled with Don and Michael. But I'd never traveled with Eric. I thought to think, wow, what if he just responded instinctively and he didn't check and my play isn't really going to be enough? Because I don't have a line of credit. I'm not a line of credit guy. And I'm listening to them talk and I'm listening to them talk about their play strategies and I'm getting more and more concerned and more more concerned. And Tony and I are texting back and forth on it and talking about it. And I'm saying, but I don't know, but I know this guy and he plays this way and he's fine. And I just got more and more wound up about it, more and more concerned. I finally sent a text to Eric and I said, hey, I don't want to embarrass myself here. I'm not that guy. I'm not purple and black chip guy. And you and I have never met. And you know, I don't want there to be a problem. And I don't want to mess up my relationship with PCH. And yeah, I'm saying all those things in this text message. And he says, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No, come on out. You're being silly. You're just getting in your own head. Come on out. And I did. And I was glad I did. I had a great time. I met people I had seen and people that I met for the first time. It was an excellent experience and an excellent process. And there were people playing much bigger than me. People playing amounts of money that I would not have ever dreamed of putting at risk all at once on a craps table. And there were also people playing smaller than me. And I fit right in, and we had a great time, and it wasn't a problem. And Eric was right, but I want you to see from that I understand this sense of anxiety. And as Eric said to me, oh, come on out, it'll be fine, it'll be fun, come on out, it'll be fine, it'll be fun. The other informative thing there was that I didn't play as much as I normally would because I was focused on doing the Crafts for the Cure event. So I didn't play nearly as much as I normally would have in a normal casino day. So when Eric and I reviewed my play after the fact, and he gave me my ADT score and that kind of thing, it is just barely okay. It's just, yeah, that's fine. You played, I mean, he wasn't saying this, but that's just as he's giving me the numbers. I'm thinking, okay, this is the minimum number you want to see, and I'm just kind of barely, almost sort of kind of at that minimal number. And yet then he followed it up by saying, and so I comped off that little bit of stuff you had on the room. My point here is that I've been on multiple cruises with PCH. They had set up reservations for me at other properties at other times. They had my play history already, and I was still worried about all those things that some of you are also worried about. It is understandable. If you have questions, please ask. If you want to hear from someone else, please say so. Please don't hesitate. Please don't think it's unusual, abnormal, or anything of that nature. We will get you in a conversation with Michael or Don or Eric. They're happy to teach. They're happy to educate. Be honest with them about how you play and what you're comfortable with. None of us want you playing in a way you're not comfortable over comp concerns. I certainly don't want you to think, oh, I've got to play this way because I'm at this event. You should play however you want to play. Always. But have the conversation with any of them and you'll get an honest answer about what can and cannot be done. And then you'll know. And then there's the other side of the coin. Be honest with us and with yourself. Don't ask for a 2-bedroom suite at Caesars. Tell us you are a $10 a spin slot player and you play several hours a day, only for us to look at your Caesars account and find that Caesars has you as a $25 a day player. That's not real either. And if you're not sure on that, call, let's have the conversation. But if you know that's what you are, don't represent yourself as something else. It's not going to benefit you or anyone, and the idea here is to benefit you. Or the event coming up in February at Sunset Station. PCH is, in my opinion, with no knowledge, going to maybe take some risks on some first-time guests. They took a risk on me when I was a first-time guest. They did. And in some cases, they were happy with the results. In some cases, they weren't happy with the results. And yet, I'm still a customer. We still have a great relationship. It's fine. But as I said, don't be that, play your way, play your level. But don't show up on we're going to do our best for you here and take a little risk and charge fine dining to the room, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and play 30 minutes a day on a $10 blackjack table and then expect all the dining to be comped off on the back end. Right? Don't try to take advantage. Once again, you're probably not going to come up with any trick that they haven't already seen that isn't already known. Don't try to take advantage of people that are trying to help you out, I guess, is my thought there. Which brings me to my final thought for this unplanned episode. And that is this. Your tier doesn't matter. And let me say that again. Your tier doesn't matter. And this is true in a couple of ways. You can reach a high tier in a variety of ways with a variety of techniques. I've taught a variety of techniques that help in that regard. You can get to MGM Gold just by charging your daily living expenses to the MGM credit card and paying it off from your checking account. That is useful. You get all the perks that go with that level. You get the free parking, you get the no resort fees, you get access to the lounge at Borgata, and you can walk that card all around the city of Atlantic City and tier match into good perks with a variety of brands. I've done it. I think it's smart to do it. I've told all of you to do it. Things like free parking and no resort fees have a lot of value. But that doesn't mean you played at a level to justify a comped room or a comped cruise. There are some exceptions to that. There are some rewards programs that when you reach a certain tier, they give you a coupon for a cruise. That qualifies you for a cruise. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that just saying to an independent casino host, I'm MGM Gold, doesn't necessarily transfer to I play at a level that's going to make sense to be in a comped space for an extended period of time. The play isn't what reached the level. And now as long as the play is representative of the comp, regardless of how you got the level, that's absolutely fine. And the flip side of this is also true. Tier doesn't matter. I see it online all the time. Someone saying, I'm this tier with this program, and I don't get comped anything, but my friend is 2 tiers lower, and she gets comped everything all the time. It isn't fair. It isn't right. My response, how did you earn that tier? Was it matched, or did you play for it? If you played for it, how did you play for it? In a lot of the programs, you can go to the casino every day with, say, $20. And I'm making this up. I haven't done the math. But you can go with $20, and if the beverages are comped, spin it until it's gone while enjoying a comped beer, and you will grind your way to a high tier over the course of an entire year. But I suspect you would not be getting much in the way of comps. Likewise, a player who comes in once a month with $600 and spends the evening spinning on various machines has put the exact same amount of money at risk and is going to be a lower tier most likely and is probably eligible for better comps than the first player I described. And make that $600 a month, one visit every 3 months with $1,800. And now we would expect that player with the same amount of money put at risk to be, again, a lower tier and much more eligible for decent comps. So just the point being, just because you have a high tier card, you may not be eligible. And having a low tier card certainly doesn't disqualify you from being eligible. It's always going to be all about some version of ADT, average daily theoretical, perhaps average trip theoretical, something like that. But it's going to come down to what you play, how long you play, and what wager size you play at. And if you're not familiar with that, if that doesn't sound familiar to you, if that's not just a right at the top of your head thing when I say ADT, if you want a refresher, go back to episode 108, and around the 1 hour and 15 minute mark, I did an interview with Michael Feldman, and he explains exactly how ADT works and exactly how it applies to being comped somewhere or on a cruise. So, my 2 rules recently have been, if it doesn't hurt another player, do whatever you want in a casino. And if you don't know, ask. Talking honestly with a member of the PCH team about your play and any concerns you have about your play is just a form of asking. And a form of asking that isn't going to hurt any other player. The anxiety is normal. I still go through it. It's going to sound dumb. I'm almost embarrassed to say it. I had to convince myself I had a comp and it wasn't going to be a problem for my own cruise. The cruise we're doing August 2nd on Liberty of the Seas. I mean, I knew I did. Royal had sent me multiple emails and postcards with that cruise from that port on that ship all kinds of times over the summer, but none of them were for August 2nd specifically. I had that moment of, what if they won't comp me? And if I can feel that way, that's my point. If I can feel that way after all the things I've been on with PCH, it's normal to feel that way if you've never done this before. I still don't think my play is enough sometimes. But here's the thing. Then I go to PCH events and I'm not the smallest player. And everyone from the largest player to the smallest player just hangs out and has fun and plays the way they want to play and enjoys being together and enjoys being in a casino and having a good time. If you'd like to join us, just ask, and we will see what is possible and what is not possible, and we will try to calm that anxiety to the best of our ability. Please tip your waitresses, tip your bartenders, tip your dealers. If you have a host, tip your host. Don't tip away your wins. I have spoken. Everything you heard here is true from a certain point of view. In 10 years, we may find out I was wrong about all of this. It's time for leaving, and I hope you understand I was born a rambling man. Love it, hate it, it don't matter. Please share with your family and friends. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening. The best part of the podcast is next, the Casino Combat Blues.
For Atlantic City Empress, Casino Combat's ace. There are profits in the casino tonight, I can feel it in my bones. I had a premonition, you should probably play alone. I know the house has an advantage, but that's part of the thrill. If we follow the core concepts, the chips begin to spill. So baby, here's your player's card, put your bankroll in your hand. Use just some of that money now, do it just the way we planned. Just follow the core concepts, and you could win several grand. Well, it's good if it goes down like that, don't have to play to lose. It's gambling as a business, the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues. The dealers and the pit bosses, the security and the law, the winning and the losing and the tricks nobody saw. No matter if it's blackjack, roulette or craps, you've gotta carry defense, cause you always carry cash. There's lots of shady characters, lots of dirty deals. Everybody has an alias, cause that's more fun we feel. It's the lure of winning money, it's got a very strong appeal.